Hey guys, it's Kevin. Lots of you email me about your printhead goes to the left and then get a paper jam. Because we have a scanner on this printer, so we do a scan and copy. So we know the problem is not from the computer because right now we're not using the computer. And Abby going to further troubleshoot it.
Hey guys, it's Abby here. I'm working on refurbishing this ST printer, and when I go to do a copy on the printer, it starts to print, and as the carriage reaches over to the left side of the printer, it gets stuck, it pauses, and goes all the way over, and that's where it tells me there's a paper jam in the back side or inside to remove the jam paper. So I go ahead and I reach inside, I pull out the jam paper, and I did this a couple times and I still continued to get this same result every time I would remove the paper. We're going to take a closer look and see what happens, because every time we get here is where it happens. So as my finger goes across, every time there is where we get this problem, and then it pauses right there at the end. We're going to shut it down and look, and I put my flashlight inside to look at the areas where it always gets caught and gives me the error. And as we see on the encoder strip, we see these black dots, and so these black dots are ink, and this ink has dried on to the encoder strip. So we see about 3 dots of ink that's been on there, and that is where every time the sensor on the back of the carriage tries to read the encoder strip, it gets stuck there, stuck here, and stuck there, and that's where it can't go back, and so it gets stuck on that far left side. It tells us we have the paper jam error. And so here's where we're going to fix that. We're going to replace the encoder strip. There's one screw on the front side on the top, and then you're going to need to flip your printer upside down, and you're going to take the screw on the back out, so this way we can take the side panel off. So open up the scanner and grab onto the side panel and push it back, and it should come off. Lift up a little bit and push backwards, and it should come off. Alright, so there's going to be this gear in the middle, and you can rotate that gear and that will release the printhead lock. I push a little bit to the right first, and then I pull the carriage over. The encoder strip hooks on to 2 hooks, one on the left side, one on the right side. So I unhooked the encoder strip first, and I'm going to pull it through out the sensor on the back of the carriage. And there's going to be another hook here. There's 2 hooks on this side. To release it, you pull upwards on a 90 degree to release it from that first hook. And then there's actually a metal spring type clip that also hooks onto a second hook on the left side. There we saw our 3 ink dots, and then there's our 2 slits on either side that hook onto the metal hooks. And then on the other end with the 1 slit, we'll see that we also have our metal spring hook that also will clip on to the metal railing in the back. Here is a encoder strip that we have in our warehouse that I went and got. So I'm going to replace it, and this one is a clean one that has no ink spots on it. It should be readable for the sensor. So here again, I'm showing that there's that 1 slit on it, and on that 1 slit there is going to be like a black triangle up at the top. That black triangle up at the top needs to be facing upwards on the far left side, connected to the metal spring. I grabbed a carriage from our warehouse to show you what it would look like in the back of the sensor that I'm trying to feed the encoder strip through without taking it all apart in the printer. I'm going to use a flashlight, and I'm going to feed the encoder strip through while making sure that I have my one end on the left side with the black triangle on the encoder strip facing up. So once I feed it through, I ended up taking my metal clip off, but then you can just rehook it back on. In the beginning, I wanted to just show you where it would go. As you do this, you have to hold tension on either side, like as the carriage is in between, so you don't end up accidentally pulling the encoder strip out one end and then having to feed it through again. So at this point, I'm trying to hook it on to the far right side on one of the little hooks. So I have it there. Now I can focus on trying to hook it on this metal hook. So we'll see that we have the slit on this side connected, and then we have to try to use the metal spring hook. And so I'm using a pair of tweezers to pull it through, and I'm also using my index finger to help push towards it. You'll hear a little click. I have the sound muted as I'm voicing over this, but as you do it, you'll hear a little click as it falls into place. Boing, it's in there now. But as you'll see, again, as you see, when you push it back and forth, you have to hold this tension. Now I'm just back on the other side, making sure that the other slit on the encoder strip is hooked on. And so now I have this tension on both sides. Everything is hooked on. The metal spring is hooked on. The encoder strip is hooked on. If your printhead lock gets opened or flipped up for some reason, just use that middle gear and just test that your carriage can move back and forth. We're going to try again. There's my little sticker that I'm going to try to do a copy. It's all powered on, and we're going to open up my scanner so we can see if the carriage gets stuck anywhere. I'll do a colored copy, and we're going to watch it. At one point, I did hold my breath as the carriage paused in the middle for a second, but it all worked out. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can visit us at bchtechnologies.com, or you can visit us locally here in Greensboro, North Carolina. Happy printing, everybody. We fixed this printer.